What we're going to talk about is 8.3 release, new front-end material handling library. This is one thing. The next thing is the cloud, what's new in the cloud, and our subscription plan and the private cloud, and then the roadmap. So, the new web front end. There will be some slides and some demos as always. So, we completely moved away from Java Swing, Java front end to HTML5. This is how it actually looked before in version 8.2 and earlier. So the model actually consisted of the engine, the actual code generated from what you type and edit, and some libraries. And Java Swing was used for animation and presentation. There were direct Java calls between all these components. Now, we're throwing away this, and since 8.3, the model will look like shown on the right. Again, Java engine, Java code generated from your model, libraries, and the web server, which will be a part of the model, and front end running in the web browser, and the only communication is HTTP. Right? So there's no Java calls between front end and the engine anymore. So the technologies used is 100% standard HTML5, namely SVG, scalable vector graphics for 2D animation, and WebGL in HTML5 canvas for 3D. So these are all standard technologies. Any browser supports them, and there are no plugins needed. Demo.
Okay, switching to AnyLogic. So this is AnyLogic 8.3 beta. And I will start with running our new example. It's pretty new, a Copernicus mine model. So here we can see our new user interface window for model runtime. Actually, this is a browser. This is a Chromium browser with a web interface of our model animation. So this is experiment page. If I run it using this button, like in common video players, so it's so here I will turn on a full screen mode. This is my in model, and it has a 3D animation. I'll speed it up. It's navigatable, zoomable. There are different cameras, like in previous versions of AnyLogic, but this is browser. It's fully interactive and vector animation. And to the new things which are here, we can see with these hover actions when I move my mouse cursor over shapes which have on-click code defined. AnyLogic automatically highlights them. It looks pretty good and helps us to understand which areas are clickable. And I can switch to two-dimensional view, some statistics views, model logic. By the way, these charts, all of them have this copy button, so you can just copy the data behind this chart and paste it in, for example, to Excel. And the animation is fully vector, so you can zoom in. It doesn't depend on your DPI settings of your display, so it displays pretty well on any device, on tablets, on phones, etc. And the same animation is displayed in the AnyLogic Cloud, as I show you later. Also, I am moving to some area where the model logic, the hidden model logic is placed, you can click on any element and inspect it. For example, this is histogram. This is a new inspect window. It's also possible to copy data there. Some elements have charts. And here is the developer panel. This is the place where we have hidden all that buttons and the status bar, and it has some settings like how long has the model been run. You can pause it here and even specify to pause at some time to navigate to different elements. For example, this model is hierarchical, so we can use this navigation to dive inside some structures in your model and return back. There are view areas, zoom settings, and a console here. And now I will upload this model to AnyLogic Cloud. So the files are being uploaded. I've chosen to upload model sources. It's optional. Here we can see the cloud page, which has our model, image, description, versions. Actually, only one version. We can share the model with our colleagues, send link, or even publish the model in the public directory. And if I go to experiment, I can see here are inputs and outputs dashboard. I will show this later. And currently, I will show you this play button, which starts the model animation like it was in AnyLogic. But now, on our laptop, here only the animation is displayed and executed. And the model execution actually takes part on some remote node in the cloud. So there is a connection protocol which delivers model animation to our computer, which can actually be a phone or tablet PC, etc. So that's it for now.
Okay, so some what it means to you, right? Apart from this is a much more modern front end than Java, right? So first consequence is that now it's absolutely transparent to the user where the model is actually running. So the possible configurations are, first, the model can run on the same computer where the animation can be shown on the same computer where the model is actually run. This is normal scenario when you develop the model. Or you can easily say, okay, I'm running the model here, and my colleague can just connect to my computer and run animation on his screen, on a maybe iPad, if it's needed for some reason, or it obviously could run on a corporate server and you just connect via HTTP, or as Nikolay has just shown, it can be run in the cloud. It will look exactly the same, it will have exactly the same controls, so it's absolutely indistinguishable where the model actually runs. You may wonder whether we still, with the new front-end support, this export as standalone application. Yes, we do. The function is there. The difference is that now when you press export as standalone application, what gets exported, there are two new components. One of them is this very lightweight web server. It's open source Spark web server, and a Chromium browser, which is also distributable according to its license. So you still can generate a completely standalone model, including animation, and then give it to somebody. Okay. Another kind of foreseeable question especially from those who build sophisticated front ends. So what do we do now? Previously, we know that advanced modelers were incorporating their custom controls, custom charts, etc. into Java Swing front end. So they are kind of inserting the scenario logic and scenario controls into AnyLogic animation, which we think is not exactly the right way of approaching this. So from now on, you will be able to create your own HTML front ends, which is much easier, and they will look for sure much nicer than Java front ends. And you will be able to insert AnyLogic animation into HTML front ends. So it's slightly, opposite architecture. So like in your HTML, you will have a certain HTML element with a certain ID, and you will give that ID to our JavaScript library, and then when the model will run on server, in that placeholder, you will see the model animation. So this is the kind of the new architecture we suggest for customizing your front ends. All right. Number 2, material handling library. So first of all, many thanks to those who helped us to put together this library. Is Amy Greer here? No, because she probably walked away. So Amy Greer working for MoSimTech was probably the strongest lobbyist for that library, and she helped us a lot. And unfortunately, she's not here because she has a birthday today, so I just wanted to say thank you to Amy. But anyway, so, all right, the library. Library, as you have seen that slide in the morning, so library kind of completes our library set for things that move, right? In the physical space, like pedestrians, rail cars, and now material items that you have in your manufacturing and logistics models. So it's a very important piece in AnyLogic toolset. We are releasing this library in several stages. So the first stage is conveyor networks and transporters moving along the predefined paths. This is being released now. Small demo, yep. And then we'll show another slide with the exact plans of what's going to be released later this year and next year.
So today, during the morning workshop, we've built this model of car door production, which actually contains all these two parts of our manufacturing material handling library. Sorry. So this is the palette. We can see here a space markup for defining conveyor networks and transporter networks, which are actually those networks which could be and can be used for agents, for any generic agent movement. This is the conveyor network in our model. This is a network for AGVs. Sorry. And this is a flow chart. So in AnyLogic, it's possible to in AnyLogic, we have a concept of space markup and process.
Yeah, I think that virtually everybody was in the morning workshop, so we don't need to go through that.
Okay.
So,
so we using material handling library, you can either use a automatic routine or create your flowchart logic for a routine, so you can catch the balance between where to put your actions to match your needs. Just to go through some of the markup elements, we have a conveyor, we have elements for conveyor connection like transfer table, turntable, turn station. We have this intersection element, which actually is a point node of our network. So now I will run some simplistic how-to examples from our AnyLogic example set. This model shows us a turn station element which is configured to make makes several turns before the item can proceed with further movement. So it's like wrapping here. Here is the orientation for barcode scanning, and here you can see merge policies. So we have two conveyors going into one point. So the library manages this connection during the runtime. So this one waits. And as for AGV or transporters, in this example, we have three incoming conveyors which deliver different colored items, and we have a number of AGVs in the network. And if I switch to 3D, we can see these AGVs are delivering these colored items to the output conveyors based on the color. And there can be parameters like unloading time, so they wait here, they obey the distance in front, and they cannot take the same path in opposite directions. So there is a collision avoidance here, simplistic collision avoidance. And also it's possible to define your custom routing algorithm in our library to test it on the model.
Okay, next releases. In November, actually, this is December, right? Nikolay always pushes me to shift dates forward, but anyway.
And Andrei is always pushing me back.
Okay, the one important addition will be, as I said in the morning, free space movement for transporters and AGVs, routing storages, priorities, etc., etc., failure and maintenance profiles for any equipment in material handling model. Also, multiple tier, multiple level conveyor networks. And then in next year we will be further improving the library with this set of functions, which I will not go through now, but well, this presentation will be obviously available online, so you will be able to see what are the actual plans. All right, now the cloud. Cloud is there, cloud is getting better, cloud is, developing and getting more and more users. So, okay, here I was going to say that simulation in the cloud is the only interesting thing in our technology that is happening today. And that is to a certain extent true. Well, if you think of like artificial intelligence linked with simulation, of course this is much more, exciting and a newer thing. But if you just take the simulation technology itself, like languages to create simulation models, methodologies, nothing new. So to me, the adoption of agent-based modeling is the last innovation in simulation technology that happened, and that was like 10 years ago maybe. But cloud is really is really something that it's a kind of will be a game changer for the simulation technology. So what exactly is moving to the cloud? If this is kind of the life cycle of a simulation model where we have this model development part, when you work with data, you conceptualize your model, you do the actual coding of the model, then verification, validation. Then there's, let's say, the usage subcycle where somebody actually runs the model, looks at the outputs, adjusts inputs, customizes dashboards, does experiment design. Obviously, these are interconnected loops because you return from usage to you correct the model and you kind of run it again. So the development part will, in the next year or two at least, stay on desktop. It's no big sense really of moving it to the cloud. Everything else moves to the cloud for sure. For many reasons. So, once the model is more or less ready, you upload it to the cloud. It's, with regards to animation, as we've shown already, does not make any difference, but it's much faster. You can run multiple run experiments, and you can immediately deliver models to your colleagues or users. Now, the next demo will be actually about multiple run experiments and how they look like in AnyLogic Cloud. So just reminding you that what AnyLogic does, once you run a model, it remembers inputs and outputs that corresponds to those inputs. And if many people are running the same model, it will remember every run or every pair in the internal database, which makes it very efficient for further, investigation or further experiments in the model. So what actually happens? Let's say you run a Monte Carlo with 100 replications. First time I go to like load balancer, which is connected to this database of I/O pairs. Then, if nothing is found, then the new experiment will run on the cloud, in the cloud nodes. They will deliver results, and then some chart will be built for you. Now, when the next time you run the experiment, then the dispatcher will first look. Okay, are there some outputs ready? And if they are, it won't run experiments again. And that is why it's so efficient. So now a quick demo from Nikolay.
So now I'll briefly show you some types of experiments and output charts. I'll start from logging out from my account. So I'll enter like a guest, and for example, this is a model of consumer credit. Sorry, it's like okay, and it has several experiments. This is a simple one, simulation which has several inputs and outputs, and in the first order Monte Carlo, we have these inputs fixed, and we just make a number of replications with different randomness. So this model provides such charts here. We can zoom in, observe individual points, look at the parameters. Sorry for the screen resolution here, maybe. And the second order Monte Carlo, where we also vary the inputs randomly. It also has several charts, box plots, and now I'll show you one more model. It's cell telecom market. And so these are parameter variation experiments where you specify the minimum, maximum of the step, and AnyLogic Cloud varies these parameters step by step and creates these outputs where you can build charts like output depending on the input values. And this is Monte Carlo. I will show you this feature export to Excel just by clicking this button. We get this XLS file downloaded if we open it. We can see this is the Excel with all the inputs and outputs in our particular experiment, so we can put them to some places where we want to. And now I will log into Cloud, but not using this username, but using a social network account, one of these. I will use Gmail, Google account. Here I have an activity-based costing analysis model, several experiments. So we have some inputs like capacity of resources. We can compare different experiments, for example, these two, with high and low number of resources. So we can see these inputs. All the inputs gray are the same, and colored are different inputs between these experiments, and these outputs are also colored, so you can determine and compare which experiment is better. And this is a parameter variation experiment where we vary the capacity of resource pools in our model. We have two box plot charts and one surface chart here, so we can observe it. And if we want to change or run more replications, more iterations, we just change values here. For example, it will vary from 7 and it will vary from 5. So I've increased the range of our inputs variation, and this experiment hasn't yet been run, so I push this run button. Sorry, I'm free user. This is maybe because our limitation. Sorry for that. Wanted to show it. So, I will be less ambitious now. Okay, I can re-log in by my
sure.
account, which is a in the same, you can see this progress starts with 70%. This means that a number of iterations has already been taken from the input-output database. So no need to wait for the whole set of the inputs to be iterated. So that's it for now. I think I will buy subscription on my Gmail account.
You probably should, yeah. So, just reminding you that the fastest way to deliver your model to someone is just to privately share a link to the model uploaded to the AnyLogic Cloud. About these two guys that were invited to work as models for this PowerPoint. So, by the way, anybody knows Grigory from our support team? No? Okay. So, when you will be using our support team, so 1/3 of emails, or maybe 1/4, will go to this guy who is Grigory. And this guy was invited from AnyLogistics team. Okay? Now, final slide on the cloud, not the final one, but just about collaborative work. Okay, AnyLogic Cloud is not fully functional version control software, but it provides some parts of version control functionality, like, for example, you can upload, download versions, and share them, of course. Then, for modelers, and individual modelers, individual consultants, and consulting organizations, you can create your online model live model portfolio. And then when you're kind of marketing your services to anyone, you can just send a link to a model in AnyLogic Cloud. And obviously we have all the social network functionalities like comments, likes, etc. Now, starting from June this year, we will start selling subscription to AnyLogic Cloud. And I'll explain what it means. It does not mean that anything that is free now will become not free. Almost nothing. Let's see exactly what. First, anyone, even if you don't have AnyLogic, you still be able to to go to the cloud's website and run any public models. The limitation will be limited parallel nodes for multiple run experiments, limited simulation time, and no access from the model to external internet, which these guys don't care about because they don't develop models. They just, run somebody else's public models. Now, if you are personal learning edition or user, or if you have university research or a pro, but not with expired maintenance, you will still be able to upload models to public space only, right? No private uploads, and run them with the same set of limitations. Now, if you are under maintenance, which all the good users are, then you are able to upload and share models privately. All this is at no additional cost. Now, how about subscription? Now, subscription gives you some additional rights and benefits. So this is a very good user who is not only under maintenance but also bought subscription from us. So that guy, first, he is entitled to high availability of parallel nodes in the cloud. We will not resell nodes like Amazon nodes to you, but we will manage, we will balance the load among the nodes that we buy from Amazon, which is actually a much better option. Unlimited simulation time and access to external resources, external internet from within the model. And you will be able to build your own customized front ends and scenarios and experiments in the cloud. And this will be a subscription. There are some technical details which we will not go through, but this is the why one would want to buy subscription for the AnyLogic Cloud. And finally, obviously we know that in many organizations the security policy just absolutely forbids for any data to be uploaded to any to any others clouds or networks. So the data should not leave your own private cloud. And maybe this is true for virtually all consulting organizations, right? Now, for those guys, we will be offering AnyLogic Private Cloud product. Also will be available soon, within a couple months. Now, what is AnyLogic Private Cloud? AnyLogic Private Cloud is actually a piece of software that you install, or your system administrator installs, either on your local network or on your private sector of third-party cloud provider. And it actually looks exactly the same as AnyLogic Public Cloud. So with all the functionality in there, like this input-output database, load balancing, distribution of runs, etc., etc. Then your modelers will be able to upload either to public cloud or obviously to your private cloud, in which case the uploaded model will not leave your private network. And in addition, and I know this is important for those who build really sophisticated analytical pipelines or workflows, we will be providing the API in multiple languages, including JavaScript, Java, and Python, to build your simulation models into bigger, cloud-based simulation models into bigger pipelines where you have, some components that provide input data for the simulation, and simulation is performed. It obviously generates other data. That other data may be post-processed, and may be presented using some BI tools like Tableau. So you will be able to build those things having simulation models efficiently executing in AnyLogic Private Cloud. Okay, and then the last slide is the roadmap. So we will give you a pretty precise picture of what's going to happen in the nearest future, because I think this is important. So now it's April 2018, 8.3 beta is available for download since last Monday. So you can go to the website now and play with it. Release is planned for late May, maybe.
Or maybe early June.
Early June.
Okay.
Now, then, also in June, we will be releasing private cloud product and starting AnyLogic Public Cloud Subscription Plan. And shortly, around that time, maybe slightly shortly after that, we'll be releasing those APIs for various customization. APIs I talked about earlier. Now, then in December 2018, there'll be 8.4 release with improved, but more functions in material handling library, which we already went through, and some additions to the cloud. Ability to edit database connected to the model, which is the part of the model in the cloud, and having Excel file as yet another type of input to AnyLogic Cloud model. Then on the simulation education side, we have two great people working on two great books. So we have Ilya Grigoriev, who has wrote all AnyLogic documentation, AnyLogic help, and who you have probably met in AnyLogic trainings in Europe. He is now working on the second updated version of the big book, so he's bringing the book up to date with the software. I initially wrote this book, and that was in a way failure because it took me 3 years, and by the time I finished, the product was far ahead of what I wrote. So hopefully Ilya will be more successful with that. And now we have Arash Mahdavi, who is standing over there at the back of the room, and he's working on the textbook, AnyLogic textbook, which can be used in universities teaching simulation. Okay, so more distant future. So obviously, you may have noticed that there is no optimization in the cloud. We will be adding a good optimization engine to the cloud. We have a kind of research project which is kind of more English, less Java. So don't worry, the Java fans, don't worry, Java will stay there probably forever. But we will be, the goal is to, for those frequently needed actions, to provide you with the ability to use more human-readable form of specifying those actions and conditions in AnyLogic than just Java. The model editor uses kind of old-fashioned Eclipse user interface. We will bring it up to date with what the user interface should be for the development tools. So we will be developing the web front end for the editor as we already done for the running model front end. And we have a couple other research projects. First, well, this was pretty much inspired by Lyle and Mark Page's work, like integrating simulation with AI. So we're working on providing better interface to so that the simulation model are easier to use in integration with like neural networks, right? And some other exciting projects. For example, one of them is with the Research Triangle Institute from North Carolina, who, we're just in the very beginning of that. But what they did, they created synthetic population for the United States and for probably Europe. And so you can like pick any region of the US up down to maybe the county, and you will be able to extract the population which will 100% match with the parameters of the real population, but all personal data will be obviously deleted. And you will be able to use that to populate your agent-based models in AnyLogic when you're doing your, for example, healthcare or marketing simulation. And we have a lot of things like that in our pipeline. Now, this is it. Let's do some Q&A. We have some time for Q&A, right? Yeah. Okay.
I'm wondering about the cloud animation that's starting now with the Chromium stuff. Have you tested that on really old web browsers, or is it like the Chromium always comes with AnyLogic now? Even if I give it to a client with highly secured laptops that basically runs Internet Explorer from 1998, it should work.
Okay. First, as long as this is standard HTML, it will look the same in all modern browsers. So Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and even Microsoft Edge, even Microsoft browser runs it well. Now, with regards to older browsers, Internet Explorer older versions will probably not be capable of displaying SVG animation. So that, I'm sorry, but that is, we cannot really support this old stuff, right? So it will display something, but it'll probably not look really good, or will be slow, right? But with regards to like more or less modern browsers, there's no problem at all.
I'm interested to learn more about the web UI for the model editor. Will we still have AnyLogic on our desktop, but develop in a UI? Will there be an option to log into a website and model from that way?
Right, thanks, Amy. So both. The web UI means just more, up-to-date UI. It's not that we're moving the tool to the cloud and forcing you to sit in the browser. Not at all. It's just we're replacing the Java Eclipse UI with more modern UI. And by the way, Amy, while you were away, I was saying, first, thank you for lobbying the material handling library, and second, happy birthday.
I was just wondering, are we going to get a similar roadmap for ALX?
Oh, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Excellent.
Will the private cloud be available on anything besides AWS?
Oh, absolutely. So all the recent work we did was just to make sure we don't depend on Amazon in any way. So you'll be able to install it even if you have,
your laptop. So you can install everything on a single, even on a single computer, or you have a network of your computers,
so
local network.
Completely cloud provider independent. Is that it? Excellent. So, well, this is yet another photograph where you can see our company, which everybody had to do surfing. That's from last summer. So, okay, you remember that? Yeah. All right. So, thanks very much, guys.